Success doesn't come from waiting for the right moment. It comes from creating it with your own thoughts and actions. This truth is something every winner knows deep down. If you're ready to stop letting doubts and excuses hold you back, you're in the right place. In this video, you're going to learn how the most successful people think and talk differently, and how you can do the same to start seeing real changes in your life. Imagine waking up every day with a clear purpose, speaking with confidence and moving toward your goals like a winner. That's exactly what we'll dive into here. You'll discover powerful insights on how to control your mindset, choose the right words, and create a daily habit that will bring your dreams closer to reality. So stay tuned. What you learn today could completely shift how you approach everything from your career to your personal life. Let's get started. Number 1, remove the word can't. To winners, focus on how can I. Most people have no idea how powerful their words are. Every single day, they are shaping their future by the way they speak, whether they realize it or not. And the sad truth is, most people are programming themselves for failure without even noticing. They tell themselves, I can't do this. I can't afford that. I can't change. And with every single I can't, they are slamming the door on opportunity. They are shutting down their own potential before it even has a chance to grow. Is nothing more destructive to success than the word can't. Because the moment you say it, you stop looking for solutions. You stop thinking. You stop trying. You accept defeat before you've even fought the battle. And the worst part, most people don't just say it once or twice. They say it all the time. It's their default response to anything that requires effort, anything that challenges them, anything that pushes them beyond what they already know. And that's why so many people never get ahead. That's why they stay stuck in the same routines, the same struggles, the same cycle of wishing for more, but never actually making it happen. Because they've trained themselves, yes, trained, to believe that their limitations are permanent. They don't see obstacles as something to overcome. They see them as the end of the road. And because they believe that, they never take the next step. But winners think differently. They don't use the word can't. They don't allow it to exist in their vocabulary. Instead, they ask one simple but powerful question: how can I? They don't see obstacles as stop signs. They see them as puzzles waiting to be solved. And because they ask that question, because they focus on finding a way instead of making excuses, they always find a way forward. Now, I know what some people are thinking, but sometimes things really are impossible. And that's where most people get it wrong. Because the truth is, most things aren't impossible, they're just difficult. They require time, effort, learning, and persistence. But people mistake difficult for impossible, and that's why they fail. The moment they say, I can't, they stop looking for options. But the person who says, how can I, keeps searching. And guess what? If you search long enough, you'll find something. You'll find a strategy, a tool, a resource, or a new approach. And that's all it takes to change everything. Imagine this: 2 people, same background, same resources, same situation. Both of them have a goal they want to achieve, but there's a major obstacle in their way. The first person immediately says, I can't do it. And that's it. The conversation in their mind is over. They've already decided it's impossible, so they don't even try. The second person, however, says, how can I? And now something interesting happens. Their brain starts working, their mind starts searching. Instead of shutting down, it opens up. They start thinking of solutions. They start considering different approaches. Maybe they don't find the answer right away, but they're looking for one. And that's what makes the difference. Because success isn't about having all the answers up front. It's about being willing to look for them. It's about refusing to accept failure as final. It's about understanding that the biggest breakthroughs in life don't come from knowing everything. They come from refusing to quit when you don't. And that's the shift that changes lives. That's the mindset that separates the people who win from the people who don't. You have to start thinking like someone who refuses to accept limitations. You have to train yourself to challenge every excuse, to question every doubt, to replace every I can't with how can I? Because the truth is, your brain is powerful. It will find answers if you push it to, but most people never push. Most people accept their first excuse as the final answer. Most people don't challenge themselves to think beyond their current reality, but the people who do, they achieve things that others call impossible, not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they think differently. So here's what you need to do. From this moment forward, eliminate the word can't from your life. Every time you catch yourself about to say it, stop. Stop yourself and ask, how can I? Instead of saying, I can't afford it, ask, how can I make more money? Instead of saying, I can't do this, ask, how can I learn? Instead of saying, I can't change, ask, what steps can I take to improve? Because the truth is, your future is being built right now, in the words you use, in the thoughts you allow, in the way you respond to challenges. And if you want a different future, you have to start thinking like someone who is determined to make one. You have to think like a winner. And winners never say, I can't. They say, how can I? And because they do, they always find a way. Number 2, control your emotions. Stay calm and collected. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at you. Some days feel like a storm that you just can't control. There are moments where things don't go your way, and the pressure starts building, emotions start to rise up. Anger, frustration, fear, or anxiety. It's easy to let those emotions take over, to react impulsively, to lash out or shut down. But what separates the people who succeed from those who don't is how they handle those emotions. The key to winning in life is not letting your emotions control you. It's about staying calm and collected no matter what's going on around you. Think about the last time you got angry, frustrated, or scared. How did it feel in that moment? It's like the world just comes crashing down, right? Your heart starts racing, your thoughts spiral, and you feel like you've lost control. But what if I told you that this moment, this feeling, is where you have the power to decide what happens next? What if instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions, you took a step back and chose how you wanted to respond? The truth is, most people are at the mercy of their emotions. They let their feelings dictate their behavior. They react. But winners, successful people, don't do that. They learn to control their emotions. They don't let their feelings control them. When you let your emotions rule you, you make decisions that are based on temporary feelings rather than long-term goals. You might snap at someone in frustration, make a rash decision, or give up on something because it feels too hard in the moment. But when you take control of your emotions, you make better decisions. You stay calm, and in that calmness, you find clarity. You stop reacting and start thinking. You begin to act with purpose instead of out of impulse. And that's where true power lies. Imagine you're in the middle of a stressful situation. Maybe your business is not going the way you want, or there's a personal issue that's causing tension in your life. The natural reaction might be to panic, to get upset, to let your mind run wild with negative thoughts. But what if in that moment you stopped? What if you paused, took a deep breath, and simply observed the situation? In that pause, you'd regain your control. Your heart rate would slow down. Your mind would clear. And then you could respond with a level head, with clarity and focus. That's how winners handle pressure. They don't get swept up in the emotion of the moment. They step back, stay calm, and make decisions based on their values, their goals, and their vision for the future. The ability to stay calm under pressure is not something you're born with. It's a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. But the more you practice controlling your emotions, the better you get at it. It starts with awareness. The moment you realize that your emotions are starting to take control, you need to catch yourself. You need to be aware of the signals, your racing heart, your tightening chest, the impulse to react. When you feel those signals, that's when you take control. You take a deep breath and you reset. In that moment, you have a choice. You can either let the emotion run wild, or you can pause, reset, and choose how to respond. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. It becomes a habit, a part of who you are. And it's not just about big, life-changing moments. It's about every small moment in between. It's about how you react to the everyday stresses in life. How you deal with the annoying traffic jam, the difficult conversation, the minor setbacks. Life is full of these moments, and they add up. If you let your emotions dictate your actions in these small moments, you're setting yourself up for bigger problems down the road. But if you can master your emotions, if you can stay calm in the face of small frustrations, those same skills will apply when the bigger challenges come your way. It's all about building that emotional muscle. You practice by staying calm during the small things, and when the big moments come, you'll be ready. But here's the thing, staying calm doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It doesn't mean ignoring the way you feel. Winners don't ignore their emotions. They acknowledge them, they feel them, but they don't let those emotions control them. They don't let them take over their actions. They allow themselves to experience the emotion, and then they choose to move forward. You can be angry and still make a smart decision. You can be scared and still take action. The key is in how you handle the emotion. Don't let it cloud your judgment. Don't let it control your response. One of the best ways to practice controlling your emotions is to reflect. After a situation where you felt your emotions take over, take some time to reflect on it. How did you feel? What triggered the emotion? How did you react? And most importantly, how could you have responded differently? This kind of self-reflection helps you identify patterns in your behavior. It helps you recognize when you're at risk of letting your emotions control you, and it gives you the opportunity to improve. The more you reflect, the more you learn, and the more you improve. This is a cycle of growth, recognizing where you went wrong, improving, and then doing better the next time. But remember, the goal isn't to eliminate emotions. Emotions are part of what makes us human. The goal is to master them, to take control of how you respond when emotions arise. When you do that, you'll find that you're able to move through life with more ease, more clarity, and more confidence. You'll be able to make decisions that are aligned with your long-term goals, not decisions based on temporary feelings. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more you train yourself to stay calm, the more you'll do it without even thinking about it. And here's the truth. When you can control your emotions, you take back your power. You stop being a slave to your feelings. You stop letting life control you. You start taking control of life. You begin to move through the world with confidence and clarity. You make better decisions. You handle stress more effectively. You build stronger relationships. And most importantly, you become someone who others look to for leadership. Because calmness is a form of leadership. People are drawn to those who can remain composed in the face of chaos. People want to follow those who can navigate challenges with grace and poise. So take control of your emotions. Start practicing today. The next time you feel frustration, fear, or anger rising up inside of you, take a step back, take a deep breath, and choose to stay calm. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's what winners do. And with practice, you'll find that it becomes second nature. When you can master your emotions, you can master your life. Number 3, turn setbacks into lessons, not excuses. Life is full of setbacks. You can't escape them. No matter who you are, no matter how successful you become, there will be times when things don't go according to plan. You'll face challenges, you'll face failures, and you'll even feel like giving up. It's a part of life. But here's the thing about setbacks. They don't define you unless you let them. The real game changer in life isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about how you respond to them. Winners know how to turn setbacks into lessons, not excuses. Think about a time when you experienced a setback. Maybe you failed at something you worked hard for, or maybe you encountered an unexpected obstacle that threw you off course. In that moment, it's easy to throw in the towel, to say it's not meant to be, or to blame something or someone for the situation. It's easy to play the victim, to find an excuse for why things didn't work out. But that's not what winners do. Winners don't use setbacks as an excuse to quit. Instead, they use them as stepping stones for growth. The power is in your response. What you do next determines everything. You have a choice. You can either let the setback break you, or you can rise up, learn from it, and come back stronger. It's all about mindset. When you look at a setback, do you see failure or do you see a lesson? Do you focus on the negative or do you focus on the opportunity to grow? When you learn to look at setbacks as lessons, you start to change your entire approach to life. Instead of thinking, I failed, you start thinking, what can I learn from this? You stop looking for someone or something to blame. You take responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your outcomes. That's where the real power lies. It's not in blaming circumstances or other people. It's in owning your journey, no matter how messy it gets, and learning from the bumps along the way. The best way to learn from setbacks is to reflect on them. After something goes wrong, take a step back. Don't just rush into the next thing. Take some time to think about what happened. What went well? What didn't go as planned? What could you have done differently? Ask yourself these questions without judgment. Be honest with yourself. And when you find those lessons, commit to applying them next time. It's all about building a better version of yourself with every setback. When you learn from the past, you stop making the same mistakes over and over. You start making progress not by avoiding failure, but by learning from it. Here's the thing, setbacks are a part of success. If you're not facing challenges, if things are always going smoothly, then you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. Growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone, when you take risks, and when you face things that are difficult. You can't grow without challenges. So instead of fearing setbacks, start embracing them. Welcome them as opportunities for growth. The more you face, the more you learn, and the more you become. Think of any successful person you admire. They didn't get to where they are by avoiding setbacks. They faced obstacle after obstacle, and instead of letting those setbacks define them, they let those setbacks fuel their drive. They learned from each failure, adapted, and moved forward with more knowledge and strength. Success is not about never failing. It's about failing, learning, and improving with every step you take. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection isn't what leads to success. It's progress. It's about moving forward, no matter how slow the progress might seem. And when setbacks happen, remember that they're not permanent. They don't last forever unless you allow them to. A setback is just a moment in time, not your entire story. But how you choose to respond to it can change the entire course of your life. Every time you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I take from this? How can I improve? And most importantly, how can I turn this into a lesson that makes me stronger and more prepared for the next challenge? When you start thinking this way, setbacks no longer have power over you. You become unstoppable. Because no matter what life throws at you, you know that you can take it, learn from it, and turn it into something powerful. And here's the beauty of learning from setbacks. It builds resilience. The more setbacks you face and overcome, the stronger you become. You develop a mental toughness that others can't touch. You start to realize that you're capable of handling much more than you ever thought possible. Each time you bounce back, you reinforce that belief in yourself. And that belief, that inner strength, is what will carry you through the tough time. In fact, the most successful people are often the ones who have faced the most setbacks. They've been knocked down, but they didn't stay down. They've been rejected, but they didn't give up. They've experienced failure, but they didn't let it stop them. And that's what made them who they are. They understood that failure is not the end. It's just the beginning of the next chapter. Turning setbacks into lessons also means changing your perspective on failure. Failure is not the enemy, it's the teacher. It's not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. The most successful people don't see failure as a sign to quit. They see it as a sign that they're growing, that they're pushing themselves, and that they're on the right track. Failure is feedback. It's telling you what doesn't work so you can do better next time. So next time you face a setback, don't let it define you. Don't let it discourage you. Instead, use it as fuel to propel yourself forward. Ask yourself what you can learn from it. See it as an opportunity to grow. Because the truth is, setbacks don't stop you from reaching your goals. What stops you is your response to them. If you use setbacks as excuses to quit, you'll never reach your full potential. But if you use setbacks as lessons, you'll only get stronger, smarter, and more determined. Life is full of ups and downs. The key is not to let the downs keep you down. Learn from them, use them, and keep moving forward. Because every setback is just a setup for your next success. Keep going, keep learning, keep growing. And remember, you're just one lesson away from your next breakthrough. Number 4, limit complaints, amplify solutions. Winners use words to solve, not dwell. You've been there before. Something goes wrong, you feel frustrated, and it's easy to fall into the trap of complaining. We all do it. Whether it's a difficult situation at work, a setback in your personal life, or simply feeling like things aren't going the way you want, complaining seems like a natural response. But here's the thing. Complaining doesn't change the situation. It doesn't make anything better, and it certainly doesn't move you forward. Complaining only keeps you stuck. It drains your energy and reinforces the idea that things are out of your control. You know what successful people do instead? They limit the complaints and amplify the solutions. They use their words to solve problems, not to dwell on them. And that's the shift you need to make if you want to move from where you are to where you want to be. Imagine this. You're working on a project and everything seems to be going wrong. The deadlines are tight, the pressure is building, and everything that could possibly go wrong seems to be going wrong. It's easy to start complaining. This is impossible, you might say. Why does everything always go wrong for me? But here's the truth. In that moment, complaining won't solve anything. It won't move you closer to the finish line. It won't make the problem disappear. Instead, it keeps you stuck in that place of frustration where nothing is getting done. And when you complain, you waste time, energy, and focus that could be better spent finding a solution. Now let's take a different approach. Instead of complaining about how hard things are or how unfair life seems, what if you turned your focus to finding a solution? What if, instead of using your words to complain, you use them to inspire action? The moment you stop complaining and start focusing on what can be done, everything changes. You shift from being a victim of circumstances to becoming the creator of your future. You start looking at the problem not as something that's impossible to overcome, but as an opportunity to grow, learn, and find a solution. You begin to realize that no matter how tough things seem, there's always a way to move forward. Winners know this, and they use their words to solve problems, not to dwell on them. You might be thinking, but it's hard not to complain when things aren't going well. And I get it. Life is tough sometimes. Things don't always go the way we want, and it's frustrating. But remember, your words are powerful. When you focus on complaining, you're reinforcing the idea that you have no control over the situation. You're telling yourself that things are beyond your ability to change. But when you shift your focus to solutions, you're reminding yourself that you have the power to change your circumstances. You're telling yourself that no matter how tough it is, you can find a way to make things better. And the more you practice this mindset, the easier it becomes to see solutions, even in the most challenging situations. Let's talk about the energy that comes from this shift. When you complain, you drain your energy. Complaining brings negativity into your mind and your life. It makes everything seem worse than it really is. But when you focus on finding solutions, you feel energized. You feel empowered. You feel like you're in control. And that's the energy that propels you forward. When you're solution fixing, you're constantly looking for ways to improve, to fix things, and to move forward. You're not stuck in the past, dwelling on what went wrong. You're focused on what you can do next to make things right. And here's the key. It's not just about what you say to yourself. It's about how you speak to others too. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they constantly complaining about their problems, or are they focused on finding solutions? If you surround yourself with people who complain all the time, it's easy to fall into that same pattern. Complaints become the language of the group, and before you know it, you're all stuck in that cycle of negativity. But if you start using your words to focus on solutions, you'll start to shift the energy around you. You'll inspire others to do the same. And soon, you'll find yourself in a circle of people who are all focused on moving forward, not stuck in the past. Winners understand the power of words. They know that their words shape their reality. They use their words to create solutions, not problems. And that's the difference between people who stay stuck in life and those who move forward. It's not that winners don't face challenges or problems, they do. But instead of complaining about how difficult things are, they ask themselves, what can I do to solve this? What's the next step? How can I make this better? And that's where the power lies. When you shift your mindset to solutions, you open up a whole new world of possibilities. Think about the successful people you admire. They don't get stuck in complaining. They don't waste time talking about how hard things are or how unfair life seems. Instead, they look at every challenge as an opportunity to find a solution, and they don't just talk about it, they take action. They do something about it. And that's why they keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles come their way. Now, I know it's not always easy to stop complaining, especially when things are tough. But the first step is awareness. Notice when you start complaining. Catch yourself in the act. And in that moment, ask yourself, what can I do to change this? How can I turn this around? It's all about shifting your focus from the problem to the solution. It's about taking responsibility for your life and your actions and not letting anything or anyone keep you from moving forward. The more you practice this mindset, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you'll find yourself focusing on solutions without even thinking about it. You'll automatically shift your attention to what you can do to improve the situation, rather than getting caught up in negativity. And when you do this, you'll start to see the results. You'll start to move forward faster. You'll start to feel more in control of your life. And most importantly, you'll start to see the power that lies in your words. Complaining keeps you stuck. It drains your energy and it keeps you focused on everything that's wrong. But focusing on solutions changes everything. It empowers you to take action, to move forward, and to create the life you want. So stop complaining and start looking for solutions. Change your words, change your mindset, and watch your life transform. It's all in your hands. The power to overcome any obstacle is within you. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you complain, or will you find a way to solve the problem? The choice is yours. And winners choose solutions every time. Number 5. Listen more, talk less. Winners learn before they speak. There's something powerful about silence. It's not just about keeping your mouth shut. It's about using that space to absorb, to understand, and to grow. It's the kind of silence that comes before wisdom, the kind that fuels learning and development. Too often, people jump into conversations, eager to voice their opinions and share their knowledge. But there's a reason why winners listen more than they talk. When you listen more and talk less, you open yourself up to the richness of other perspectives, ideas, and insights that you might have otherwise missed. It's a strategy not just for communication, but for success. Winners know that there's power in being quiet. They understand that the key to truly understanding something and making the right decisions comes not from speaking first. When you talk less and listen more, you start to notice things you might have overlooked. You hear the unspoken details, the nuances in what people say, the things that go beyond the surface level. In a conversation, when you take a step back and listen, you give the other person the chance to share their entire perspective without interrupting or jumping in with your own thoughts. This is powerful. This is how you learn. This is how you gather the information you need to make informed decisions, solve problems, and come up with creative solutions. The more you listen, the more you understand. And understanding is what makes you a better decision maker, a better leader, and a better problem solver. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to have all the answers, the ones who always seem to be in the right place at the right time. They're not the ones who are always talking, always dominating the conversation. They're the ones who listen carefully, who take in every word, every emotion, every piece of information, and then respond thoughtfully. And when they do speak, it's with purpose. They don't waste words. They use them to add value, to offer solutions, and to guide others. That's the kind of power that comes from listening. It's not about being quiet for the sake of being quiet. It's about creating space for wisdom to enter. Listening more doesn't just make you a better communicator, it makes you a better learner. Every conversation, every interaction is an opportunity to learn something new. But you can't learn if you're too busy talking, too busy sharing your own thoughts, and too eager to make your point. Winners know that they don't have all the answers. They know that the world is full of wisdom waiting to be discovered. But the only way to access that wisdom is by listening to your colleagues, to your mentor, to the people around you. When you listen more, you pick up on things that you might not have realized otherwise. You learn about the challenges others are facing, the ideas they're working on, and the lessons they've learned from their own experiences. You start to see patterns, connections, and opportunities that were invisible when you were too busy talking. And here's something that might surprise you. Listening more doesn't just help you learn. It helps you build stronger relationships. When you listen to someone, you show them that you value their thoughts, their opinions, and their experiences. You create a sense of trust and respect. People love to feel heard. When you listen carefully without interrupting or rushing to give your opinion, you create a space where others feel safe to share to be themselves, and to open up. This is how you build rapport, how you connect with people on a deeper level. It's not about talking about yourself or impressing others with your knowledge. It's about showing up with a willingness to understand and support the people around you. That's how you win their respect. That's how you become a true leader. But here's the thing. Listening doesn't mean you don't have a voice. It doesn't mean you have to stay silent all the time. It means you speak with intention, with purpose. You choose your words carefully, knowing that when you do speak, your words will carry more weight because you've listened first. When you take the time to listen, you have a much clearer understanding of the situation. You know the context, you know the emotions at play, and you know the details that others might overlook. This makes your response more thoughtful, more effective, and more impactful. You don't have to fill every silence with your voice. Sometimes the best thing you can do is listen, absorb, and then speak when you have something valuable to contribute. Let's also talk about the value of listening in a leadership role. A true leader doesn't just tell people what to do. A true leader listens to their team, understands their challenges, and guides them toward solutions. When you listen, you create a space where everyone feels valued. You build trust with your team, and you empower them to speak up, to share their ideas, and to contribute to the decision-making process. A leader who listens is a leader who builds loyalty, who fosters collaboration, and who inspires others to give their best. When you listen, you set the tone for open communication and mutual respect. You create an environment where everyone feels heard, where everyone's input is valued, and where everyone is working together toward the same goal. Now, you might be wondering, what if I have something important to say? What if I have a brilliant idea or a solution to the problem at hand? The answer is simple. Your moment to speak will come. When you listen first, you not only understand the situation better, but you also gain the opportunity to speak at the right moment. You'll know when it's time to share your thoughts, and when you do, your words will have more impact because they're grounded in the knowledge you gained by listening. You'll be able to speak with confidence, knowing that your response is based on a deep understanding of the situation and the people involved. Listening is also a powerful tool when it comes to problem solving. When you're faced with a challenge, it's easy to jump to conclusions and start brainstorming solutions. But here's the problem with that approach. Without understanding the full picture, your solution might miss the mark. When you listen first, you take the time to gather all the facts, to understand the perspectives of everyone involved, and to see the problem from all angles. Only then can you come up with a solution that truly addresses the root cause of the issue. By listening carefully, you increase your chances of finding a solution that works, not just for you, but for everyone. The next time you're in a conversation, whether it's at work, with friends, or with family, remember this: the more you listen, the more you learn. The more you listen, the more you build connections. The more you listen, the more you grow. Winners know this. They understand that success isn't about talking the most or being the loudest in the room. It's about listening with intention, absorbing the knowledge and insights that come from others, and then using that information to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create real impact. So the next time you're in a conversation, remember that your greatest power lies in what you don't say. Listen more, talk less, and watch how your life transforms. Number 6, winners don't over-explain. They let actions speak louder. There's a misconception that the more you talk, the more you convince people of your worth. People get caught up in explaining themselves, trying to justify every little thing, thinking that the more they speak, the more they will be understood. But here's the truth. Winners don't over-explain. They let their actions speak louder than words ever could. They understand that words can sometimes dilute the message, while actions have the power to leave a lasting impact. It's not about telling everyone what you can do or convincing them how capable you are. It's about showing up, doing the work, and letting the results speak for themselves. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were trying to explain why something didn't work out or why you couldn't meet a certain deadline? It's easy to get caught up in explanations, especially when you're trying to avoid criticism or make excuses for things that didn't go as planned. But here's the thing, people don't always care about your explanations. What they care about is what you do next. They want to see action, results, and movement forward. If you've failed at something, the best thing you can do is learn from it and move on. The longer you spend explaining yourself, the more you risk sounding defensive, and the less room you leave for others to see how serious you are about taking action and improving. Think about it. The most successful people in the world, whether it's in business, sports, or any other field, they don't sit around explaining themselves endlessly. Instead, they focus on the work. They let their actions be the proof of their capabilities. Every move they make, every decision they take is a statement in itself. They don't feel the need to justify their every move. They let their results speak louder than any explanation could. And when you adopt this mindset, you start to see how powerful it is to simply let your actions do the talking. The less you explain, the more people will respect you for your ability to produce results without the need for lengthy justifications. It's not that communication isn't important, but there's a time and place for everything. When you find yourself constantly explaining your actions, it can often be a sign that you're trying to seek validation, you're looking for approval, or perhaps trying to avoid judgment. But real winners know that seeking validation doesn't get you anywhere. They understand that people will form opinions based on your actions, not on your explanations. If you spend all your time explaining why something didn't happen, you're wasting energy. Instead, channel that energy into finding solutions, improving yourself, and taking the next step. This is what true leaders do. They don't waste time convincing others of their worth. They just go out and prove it. Winners focus on results, not on convincing others of their efforts. It's like that saying, don't talk about it, be about it. The more you focus on delivering results, the less you'll feel the need to explain yourself. People will see what you're capable of based on your work. And that's all the validation you need. The more you talk, the more you risk overcomplicating things, confusing your message, or even giving the wrong impression. Actions are simple and direct. They don't require any explanation. A job well done speaks volumes, and that's the kind of communication that really leaves an impression. In today's world, people are often busy, distracted, and overwhelmed. They don't have the time or energy to listen to long-winded explanations. They want to see results. If you keep explaining why something didn't work, or why you're still working on a project, you're not moving the needle forward. You're stalling. When you focus on what needs to be done, put in the work, and let your success speak for itself, people will notice. The more you act, the less you need to explain. Results are clear, undeniable, and powerful. No words can overshadow what you've achieved. Of course, there are times when communication is necessary. When collaborating with others or seeking feedback, it's important to express yourself clearly. But the key here is balance. You don't need to justify every decision or action you take. Let the work do the talking. Winners know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know that their time is better spent getting things done than explaining themselves. And when they do, their words carry weight because they've already proven themselves through their actions. They've built a reputation for delivering results, and that's the foundation of their success. One of the most powerful things you can do in any situation is to remove the need for constant explanation. Imagine a world where you didn't feel the need to explain every single thing you did. Imagine the freedom you would feel knowing that you don't need to justify every move you make. That's how winners operate. They trust their abilities, they know their value, and they let their actions reflect that. There's no need to prove yourself to anyone. The proof is in the results you create. When you stop over-explaining, you also free up mental and emotional space. You stop wasting time trying to convince others of your worth and start focusing on what truly matters, doing the work, improving and growing. And when you adopt this mindset, it becomes easier to stay focused on the bigger picture. Instead of getting bogged down in small details and unnecessary explanations, you can focus on executing the tasks that will move you closer to your goals. Winners don't get sidetracked by distractions. They don't waste time explaining themselves to everyone who doubts them. They stay focused on their mission, and the results speak for themselves. In the end, the less you explain, the more people will respect you. They will see the work you're putting in, the dedication you have, and the results you're creating. And that's all the explanation you'll ever need. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where you feel the need to explain yourself, stop and ask yourself, is this helping me move forward? Or is it just taking away time and energy that could be better spent on taking action? Winners know that actions are what matter most. They understand that they don't need to explain their every move because their results are loud enough. And when you embrace this approach, you'll find that your success will speak for itself, no explanation required. Number 7, speak from experience. Winners share lessons, not theories. There's a big difference between talking about something you've read in a book, heard from someone else, or seen online, and sharing something you've actually lived through yourself. When you speak from experience, there's a depth, authenticity to your words that cannot be matched by any theory or secondhand knowledge. Winners know this. They understand that real value comes from lessons learned, struggles overcome, and growth achieved through action. They don't just talk theory, they speak from the heart, sharing the experiences that have shaped them, the ones that have made them who they are today. You know, there's a lot of people out there who love to talk about success, about the formula for winning, about the steps you should take to achieve your dreams. But here's the thing. Most of those people have never actually walked the path. They haven't gone through the struggle, the failures, the pain that comes with striving for something greater than yourself. They're sharing ideas they've read about or theories they've heard, but they're not speaking from a place of genuine experience. And as a result, their words lack the weight, the power, the credibility that come from having truly lived those lessons themselves. When you speak from experience, your words resonate in a way that theoretical advice just can't. Winners don't spend their time regurgitating ideas they picked up from a book or a seminar. They take those ideas and apply them to their own lives. They turn those theories into actions, and from those actions come the lessons that shape their success. These are the lessons they share with others. It's not about preaching some perfect formula. It's about telling the truth of what it takes to succeed. They share the hardships, the setbacks, and the small victories that ultimately led them to where they are. And because they've lived through it, their words have a power that only experience can give. The power of speaking from experience comes down to credibility. People can feel when someone is speaking from theory or from practice. When you tell someone about the struggles you've faced, the mistakes you've made, and the lessons you've learned, it hits differently than if you're just quoting someone else's experience. There's a level of trust that comes with speaking from a place of truth. People don't just want advice. They want to hear the raw, unfiltered reality of what it really takes to succeed. They want to hear about the real, behind-the-scenes moments, the late nights, the doubts, the things that didn't go as planned but were still necessary to reach success. And let me tell you, the lessons you share from your own experience are often the ones that will resonate the most with others. They're not looking for the picture-perfect story. They're looking for someone who has walked the path, stumbled, fallen, and still found a way to rise. That's the true power of speaking from experience. It's not about pretending you've got it all figured out. It's about sharing the journey, the ups and downs, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. People connect with authenticity. They connect with the human side of the story, not just the end result. And when you speak from your own life, your own challenges, it gives others permission to struggle, to fail, and to keep going. They can see that it's not just about winning all the time. It's about learning from the losses and using those lessons to grow. Another key aspect of speaking from experience is that it makes you relatable. When you talk about your struggles, the obstacles you've had to overcome, people can see themselves in your story. They don't feel like you're some distant figure on a pedestal. They feel like you're someone who's been where they are, someone who understands the pain and frustration that come with the pursuit of success. You're not telling them what to do from a place of authority. You're telling them what worked for you after you made the mistakes. You're showing them the path that you've walked and how they might be able to walk it too. There's an empathy that comes with sharing real experiences, and that empathy is what draws people in. Let's be honest for a second. Everyone faces challenges. Everyone has moments when they feel stuck, when they doubt their abilities, or when they wonder if they're on the right path. But here's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. Those who succeed are the ones who face those challenges head on, learn from them, and use those lessons to fuel their growth. They don't sugarcoat their journey. They don't pretend it was easy. They share the tough moments, the difficult choices, and the lessons learned from both their wins and losses. That's what makes them real. That's what makes them stand out. If you want to inspire others, you have to speak from your own life. Don't hide the struggles. Don't shy away from the tough lessons. Instead, embrace them. Share the mistakes you made and what they taught you. Share the times you doubted yourself and how you pushed through. When you do this, you show others that they're not alone in their struggles. You show them that even the most successful people have faced the same obstacles, doubts, and fears. But those people didn't give up. They learned from their mistakes, they adjusted, and they kept moving forward. And that's the message you want to share. That's the story that will inspire others to keep going, even when things get tough. So, the next time you're thinking about sharing advice or insights, ask yourself, have I lived this? Have I learned this lesson the hard way? If you have, then speak from that place of truth. Share your experiences, your lessons, and your journey. Because when you speak from experience, your words carry weight. They resonate with people on a deeper level. They inspire action, and they remind others that success isn't just a theory. It's something you build through experience, learning, and growth. Winners don't just share what they've read or heard, they share what they've lived. They share the lessons that have shaped them, the experiences that have made them who they are. And when you do the same, you'll find that your words not only inspire others, but they will also help you solidify your own growth. Because the more you reflect on your journey and share the lessons you've learned, the more you reinforce those lessons in your own life. You start to see the power of your own experiences. And that, my friend, is the real key to success. Speak from experience and let the lessons you've learned along the way be the guide for others to follow. Number 8, avoid negative conversations. Winners don't let other people's doubts affect them. Every day, we are bombarded with negativity, whether it's from the media, the people around us, or even our own minds. It can feel like a constant stream of doubt, criticism, and fear trying to creep in, trying to pull us down. And let's be honest, there's nothing easy about ignoring negativity, especially when it's coming from the people you care about or when it's wrapped up in the form of well-meaning concern. But if you want to be a winner in life, if you want to succeed in anything, you have to learn to avoid negative conversations and refuse to let other people's doubts affect you. Winners don't let the voices of negativity shape their world. They shape their own world with their own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Imagine trying to climb a mountain with a weight strapped to your back. Every time you move forward, someone ties another weight to you. That's what negativity is like. It's not just a simple setback. It slows you down, holds you back, and makes your journey unnecessarily harder. The moment you entertain those negative conversations, you give power to them. It's like giving someone the keys to your mental peace, your drive, and your sense of purpose. But here's the reality. Winners don't do that. They don't give anyone that kind of control. They know that the more you feed into those negative conversations, the more it keeps you stuck in a place you don't want to be. Winners know that negativity will always be present. It's unavoidable, and it comes in many different forms. Sometimes it's a person telling you that your dreams are too big or too unrealistic. Sometimes it's an offhand comment from someone you respect, questioning your ability or your vision. And sometimes it's your own self-doubt trying to convince you that you're not capable. But no matter where it comes from, one thing is certain. If you give it space, if you allow it to influence your decisions, it will steer you away from your goals. That's why winners have mastered the art of avoiding negative conversations. They know that not every opinion needs to be heard, and not every piece of advice is worth taking. People who are stuck in their own fears and insecurities often project those onto others. They don't want to see anyone break free from their limitations because it highlights their own inability to do the same. So they'll try to bring you down to their level. They'll say things like, "That's not possible," or "Who do you think you are to even try?" And the sad part is that some people let those words stick with them. They let them fester and become part of their story. They take someone else's doubt and make it their own. But winners, they don't let that happen. They recognize negativity for what it is, a distraction. They recognize that the only voice that truly matters is their own. They refuse to let anyone else dictate what's possible for them. When someone doubts them, it doesn't land in their heart, it bounces off because they know their worth. They know the journey they're on and the strength they possess. One of the most powerful things you can do for your success is to stop engaging with negativity. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending like challenges don't exist. It's about choosing not to give energy to things that don't help you grow. When you find yourself in a negative conversation, step away. Don't get dragged into the emotional whirlpool of doubt and despair. Instead, focus on the solution. Focus on the next step. Focus on what you can do, not what you can't. Winners know that when they feed into negative talk, they are only wasting precious energy that could be used to make progress. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, they focus on what's right and what's possible. And let's be clear, avoiding negative conversations isn't about being rude or shutting people down. It's about protecting your mental space, your energy, and your focus. You don't need to absorb every negative opinion that comes your way. You don't need to entertain every bit of gossip, every offhand comment, or every person who tells you that something can't be done. You have the power to control what you let into your life. And when you choose to protect your mind from negativity, you are creating the space to grow, to learn, and to thrive. This mindset of avoiding negative conversations doesn't just apply to others, it applies to the conversation you have with yourself. The moment you allow your inner dialogue to become negative, to become doubtful, you've given up control of your own path. Winners are aware of this. They guard their inner thoughts just as fiercely as they guard their external environment. When those thoughts of self-doubt start to creep in, they recognize them for what they are, just thoughts. They don't let them define who they are or who they can become. Instead, they replace them with empowering thoughts, with affirmations of their own ability and potential. Winners know that thoughts become actions and actions become habits. If you constantly entertain negative thoughts or listen to negative people, you will begin to act in alignment with those thoughts. Your decisions will be clouded by doubt, your actions will be hesitant, and your results will reflect that. But when you focus on the positive, when you surround yourself with people who believe in you, and when you protect your mind from negativity, your actions will be driven by confidence, determination, and clarity. The best part is that when you start avoiding negative conversations, you'll begin to notice a shift in the people around you. You'll find that the more you refuse to engage with negativity, the less it affects you. In fact, some people may start to distance themselves because they can't handle your energy anymore. That's a good thing. You're creating a space where only positive energy can thrive. You're attracting the kind of people who will support you, cheer for you, and push you forward, not the ones who will hold you back with their doubts and fears. Remember, you control your narrative. You control your mindset. You control who you allow to influence your thoughts and your actions. So, the next time someone tries to drag you into a negative conversation or fill your mind with doubt, stop and think. Recognize the power you have to choose your response. You don't have to engage. You don't have to absorb the negativity. Instead, choose to rise above it. Focus on your goals, your vision, and the steps you need to take to get where you want to go. Winners don't let the doubts of others determine their future. They create their own path, and they walk it with confidence, purpose, and positivity. And when you do the same, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 9, your voice matters. Winners speak with confidence, even when no one is listening. Your voice matters. No matter who you are, where you're from, or how many people are listening, your voice has power. It's easy to think that your words only matter when someone else is paying attention, when you're speaking to an audience, or when people are relying on your opinion. But the truth is, the way you speak and the confidence with which you express yourself affects everything, whether or not anyone is listening. Winners understand this deeply. They know that speaking with confidence is not about being heard by others. It's about speaking to themselves, owning their truth, and standing tall in their own thoughts. Imagine this. You're walking down the street, and there's no one around. The world feels quiet. The day feels still, and you're left with just your thoughts and the empty space around you. In that moment, do you let your voice remain silent? Do you hide what's on your mind, or do you speak up and declare what you believe in, even if no one is there to hear it? The way you speak when no one is listening is a reflection of who you are when no one is watching. It reveals how much you truly believe in yourself, how confident you are in your own voice, and how ready you are to take on whatever life throws your way. Winners don't wait for the right audience to show up to speak their mind. They speak with confidence because they know their voice matters, whether it's heard by one person, 1,000, or no one at all. Speaking with confidence isn't about arrogance. It's not about trying to prove something to others or convincing them of your worth. It's about recognizing your own value and letting that truth flow through your words. When you speak confidently, you are sending a powerful message to the world. First, to yourself and then to others. You're telling yourself that your thoughts are valid, that your opinions matter, and that you have something worth sharing. And when you do that, you not only begin to believe in your voice, but you also begin to shape your reality. The more you speak with confidence, the more you affirm your own power and influence. But here's where it gets interesting. A lot of people struggle with speaking up. They're afraid of judgment, of being misunderstood, or of sounding foolish. They stay quiet, even when they have something important to say, because they fear the reaction of others. But winners don't let that fear control them. They understand that confidence is a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. The more you speak up, even in situations where no one is listening, the more you build your own belief in your voice. The more you stand tall, even when it feels like no one cares. The more you reinforce the idea that your voice is important, no matter who is around. There's a big difference between being afraid to speak up and choosing to speak confidently, regardless of the outcome. It's easy to stay silent, to let the world go on around you without adding your thoughts into the mix. But that's not how winners operate. Winners know that their voice is the key to unlocking their potential. They know that speaking up, even when no one is listening, is an act of self-empowerment. They don't need validation from others to feel good about what they say. They speak because it feels right. They speak because they know that their thoughts are valuable and they trust in the process of sharing them with the world. Speaking with confidence is also about standing firm in your beliefs. The world is full of opinions, advice, and distractions. Everyone has something to say, and it can sometimes feel overwhelming. But winners don't let the noise drown them out. They know that their voice is just as valid as anyone else's, and they don't let the opinions of others shake their confidence. They speak their truth, even when the world seems indifferent or critical. They trust that what they say has power, even if it's not always immediately recognized. They know that their words carry weight, and by expressing themselves confidently, they create space for others to listen. It's not about speaking louder or trying to get attention. It's about being grounded in your own beliefs and allowing your words to flow naturally from that place of inner confidence. Winners speak because they know their voice is worth hearing, and they trust that their words have the potential to make an impact, even if that impact isn't immediately visible. When you speak with confidence, you are giving yourself permission to be heard, to be understood, and to make a difference, no matter how small or large the audience may be. Winners also know that speaking confidently is a reflection of their own self-respect. When you value yourself, you value your voice. You don't hold back because you're worried about what others might think. You speak up because you know your thoughts are worth sharing. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. It becomes second nature to speak with confidence because you begin to believe in your words, in your message, and in the power of your voice. One of the most powerful ways to build confidence in your voice is by consistently using it. It doesn't matter if you're speaking to one person, a room full of people, or just your reflection in the mirror. Every time you speak, you reinforce your belief in your own words. And over time, this leads to a deep sense of confidence that isn't dependent on the reactions of others. Your confidence comes from within, and the more you practice using your voice, the more you begin to trust in its ability to shape your world. It's also important to remember that your voice isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's about owning your words, standing tall in your truth, and letting your words carry the weight of your conviction. When you speak from a place of genuine belief, your words resonate more deeply. People notice the strength behind your voice, and they begin to listen, not because you're louder than everyone else, but because your voice is grounded in authenticity and confidence. So no matter who is listening or who isn't, remember this: your voice matters. Speak up, not because you want to be heard by others, but because you want to be heard by yourself. Speak because you believe in your thoughts, your ideas, and your ability to make a difference. And when you do that, you'll start to see that your voice has the power to shape your reality and the world around you in ways you never imagined. Keep speaking with confidence, even when no one is listening. Because the truth is, the more you speak, the more you'll realize that the most important person to listen to is you. Number 10, winners speak about progress daily. They remind themselves of their vision. Every single day, winners remind themselves of where they are going. They don't wake up hoping that progress happens by accident. They speak about it, they focus on it, they declare it with confidence because they know that what you say to yourself every day becomes your reality. Progress isn't just something you think about once in a while. It's something you speak into existence. Winners talk about their vision, their goals, and their progress every single day, not because they need motivation, but because they understand the power of words in shaping their future. Think about it. How often do you hear people talk about their problems? They go on and on about what's wrong, what isn't working, what they wish would change. But here's the truth. Talking about problems doesn't solve them. Complaining doesn't create progress. Winners understand this at their core. That's why they shift their words towards progress, towards action, towards what they're building. They don't get stuck in the language of frustration. They use their words to fuel their momentum. Because every time you speak about progress, you reinforce it in your mind. You remind yourself why you started, what you're working towards, and what kind of person you need to be to get there. There's something powerful about waking up every morning and saying to yourself, I'm getting better. I'm moving forward. I am becoming the person who deserves success. Winners don't just think these things. They say them out loud. They make progress real by speaking it into their daily lives. Because the more you say something, the more it becomes part of who you are. If you wake up every day saying, I don't know if I can do this, you start to believe it. But if you wake up and say, I am making progress no matter what, that becomes your reality. It's not about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect. It's about focusing on what's within your control. A winner knows that progress is built one step at a time and every step counts. So instead of saying, I'm not there yet, they say, I'm further than I was yesterday. Instead of saying, this is hard, they say, I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm going to figure it out. They shift their language to focus on movement, not obstacles. And that mindset makes all the difference. Speaking about progress daily isn't just about self-talk. It's about keeping your vision alive. It's easy to get distracted in life. You start something with excitement and then over time you lose focus. You forget why you started. You let small setbacks make you doubt yourself. But winners don't let that happen. They remind themselves of their vision every day. They talk about it, they visualize it, they make it real. Because when you keep your vision in front of you, you don't lose momentum. You don't let distractions pull you away from what matters. You stay locked in on your path, and that's how progress happens. One of the most powerful things a winner does is speak as if their goals are already happening. They don't say, I hope one day I succeed. They say, I am building success right now. They don't say, I want to be confident. They say, I am becoming more confident every day. That shift in language creates a shift in mindset. And when your mindset changes, your actions follow. Winners understand that their words create their reality. So they use their words wisely. Some people might think this is just positive thinking, but it's more than that. It's about programming your mind for action. When you speak about progress every day, you train yourself to look for opportunities instead of excuses. You train yourself to see effort instead of obstacles. You start finding ways to make things happen instead of reasons why they won't. Because the truth is, the way you speak determines the way you act. And the way you act determines the results you get. Have you ever met someone who constantly talks about how unlucky they are? How things never go their way? How no matter what they do, success just isn't happening for them? What do you think happens to a person like that? They stay stuck. They keep proving themselves right because their words shape their actions and their actions reinforce their words. That's why winners speak differently. They don't talk about why something won't work. They talk about how they're going to make it work. They don't focus on what's missing. They focus on what they're building. And because of that, progress keeps happening for them. The way you speak about progress also affects the people around you. Winners don't just talk about progress to themselves. They bring that energy into their conversations. They don't waste time on gossip, negativity, or excuses. They speak about ideas, solutions, and action. And when you do that, something incredible happens. The people around you either rise to that level or they fade away. You start attracting people who think like winners because winners recognize each other by the way they speak. And before you know it, you're surrounded by a group of people who push you forward instead of holding you back. Speaking about progress daily isn't just a habit. It's a discipline. It's something winners do whether they feel like it or not. Even on the days when things aren't going well, they still talk about progress. Even when they feel tired, discouraged, or unsure, they still speak words that keep them moving forward. Because they know that setbacks are temporary, but their vision is permanent. They refuse to let a bad day turn into a bad mindset. They remind themselves daily of who they are and where they're going. And because they do that, they always find a way forward. The truth is, you don't have to wait until you're successful to start speaking like a winner. You can start right now. You can start by changing the way you talk about yourself, your progress, and your future. You can decide that from this moment on, your words will reflect where you're going, not where you've been. And when you do that consistently, something amazing happens. Your words start shaping your thoughts start shaping your actions, and your actions start shaping your results. Winners don't leave progress to chance. They create it every day with their words, their mindset, and their actions. They remind themselves daily of their vision because they know that success isn't built overnight. It's built through daily progress. And the people who keep speaking about progress, who keep reminding themselves of their goals, who keep their vision alive no matter what, that's who wins in the end. I hope this video has given you some powerful insights into how you can start thinking and speaking like a winner. Remember, it all begins with your mindset. If you can change the way you think, you can change the way you talk, and ultimately, you can change your life. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. The best time to take action is right now. Whether it's changing the way you speak about your challenges or learning to stay calm in tough situations, every small step you take will bring you closer to where you want to be. Winners aren't born, they are made, one thought and one word at a time. So take what you've learned today and start applying it in your life. Keep pushing forward, stay focused on your goals, and remember, your thoughts and words are powerful tools. Use them wisely. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep winning together.